One of the hardest things to be in the world every day is Black. One of the hardest things to be in the world every day is a woman. So when you intersect those two things, you could easily identify differently if you wanted to, for protect, whatever, right? I'm not judging anybody, but I know who I see every time I look in the mirror.
What is going on, everybody? Wired here. Hope you guys are all having a terrific Thursday. And what I just played for you was the CEO of Target, with no irony at all, explaining how hard it is to be Black and to be a woman in today's society, while with no irony involved at all on her part, simultaneously making millions upon millions of dollars a year. Now, I'm not going to put any cap here. I'm sure she's worked very hard to get where she is. But I think instead of having this victim narrative, it would probably be a lot more beneficial to explain to people how you climbed up the corporate ladder, how you made yourself successful. That would probably be good than just saying, oh, well, you know, it's really hard. It's just really hard. Because that doesn't really help anybody. I'm sure a lot of people would like to know your secret to success. And I'm pretty sure there are worse things too than, you know, being Black and being a woman in the society, although I don't know, because I'm neither a woman nor Black. But you know, a couple things come to mind, like being, you know, perhaps, you know, imprisoned or enslaved, or, you know, suffering a famine or something like that, going hungry, or perhaps being the CEO of Target. Because as you can see here from this graph, their stock prices here from May 17th, when they rolled out this clothing line, it was doing pretty good. 160. And now it is down to 127.99. Oh, it just went up a little bit. 129.04. So it's going up a little bit today for them. But yeah, it hasn't been doing too well. And nobody at Target seems like it's doing too well here. As you guys, this from the New York Post here, Target stock loses $13.8 billion, sinks to lowest level since 2020 over boycotts. Target stock has lost a whopping $13.8 billion over the past 2 weeks, hitting its lowest levels in nearly 3 years as the cheap chic, oh, that's a tongue twister, discount retailer continues to face backlash over the LGBTQIA XYZ plus friendly kids clothing, which should not be marketed towards children because children don't understand their sexuality. This is not complicated stuff here. But from the diversity, equity, inclusion manager of Target, got a really interesting clip here I'm going to show you in a second, explaining how if anyone has a problem within, you know, the society, the diversity, equity, inclusion society that Target is trying to promote, it's white women's fault. Because it's always the white people's fault, and especially in this case, or normally it seems like lately, it's white women. They're the problem. Take a look.
It is important for us to also acknowledge that not everyone is going to believe or be bought into our strategies and our priorities on this topic. They just aren't. And so when we talk about leader accountability and the importance of representation and these strategies and these goals being integrated into someone's responsibility, like just to be really pragmatic and practical, then it becomes, okay, you don't like, we may not be able to change your mind shift on appreciating why this is important, but you do understand that as a part of your job responsibilities, you will lead inclusively, you will have representation on your team, you will be responsible for these behaviors, values, and expectations. And it also, quite frankly, puts a light on the folks that don't believe in this, but emphasizes that you still have to do it to do this job, to be a part of this company. And eventually, you'll see a change in their mindset, or they may leave. And, you know, that's a part of this process too. This isn't for everyone. But what has to be for everyone is accountability, and accountability comes with transparency.
Now, it's important to know this isn't from a recent call. This is a couple months back, maybe a year back, something like that. It's just interesting. Whenever these corporations go woke, there are always going to be people who are going to go through their social media, try to dig up this type of stuff, try to get dirt on them. And it seems like the dirt is always there. And in this example, you can see that Target diversity chief demands white women get to work against America's systemic racism. And as you just heard from that clip, if you don't like it, basically you can just leave. If you're not on board with the team, if you're not down with what they're doing, you know, just walk. Fascinating stuff. A Target Corporation diversity executive demanded white women get to work to combat the supposed systemic racism in America. Because the implication of that is not racist at all, right? It's like, these people, they live so far up their own butts, they don't even realize the hypocrisy and, the misogyny they are spewing. But I guess it doesn't matter because it's just directed towards white women. While adding, the retail giant was making some internal decisions based on predictions of shifting demographics. One of the hardest things in the world to be every day is black. Kira Fernandez, a chief diversity and inclusion officer at Target, said in a video interview with Essence Magazine in January. All right, so this is only about 5 months back. Target has ramped up its DEI efforts, in particular after the death of George Floyd in 2020. In layman's terms, virtue signal. Target established the Racial Equity Action and Change, which is led by Fernandez. To rapidly accelerate those efforts, the task force focuses on engaging black customers in stores and ramping up promotions and hiring of black employees. The retail giant also promised to drastically increase its demographic of black employees, which was at 50%. So basically what they're doing is they're promoting racism. They are now using a practice that they are specifically hiring people based off of their skin color. Now, I'm not really sure what the quote-unquote normal or term of racism is in 2020 or 2023, I guess. But to me, this is racism. You're hiring people specifically based off of skin color, and yet we're supposed to have, fair hiring acts that are supposed to prevent such things. Me, I just think you should hire the most qualified person for the job. If that happens to be, 10 black people, well, that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But you should hire the person who's most qualified or who you think is going to be best for your team. Just coming out here and saying the quiet part out loud does not help your case. But let's continue. We're on track to spend more than $2 billion with black-owned brands by 2025. We've already increased our investments in black-owned companies and suppliers, including marketing agencies, construction companies, facilities, maintenance, and more, by 50% since 2020. And again, I wouldn't have any problem with them just saying they're going to, you're saying the black-owned thing, you're saying the quiet part out loud. You shouldn't be doing that. But it's all a virtue signal, just to the left, to the left. And in that shift, it's important for us to think about how do we start planting seeds today that prepare for those future demographic shifts. She proceeded to say that it was the role of white women to call out transgressions. Any white women listening out there, your fault. Those are not my words. Those are not my words. These are the executive of Target's words. I think the number one thing that I would encourage white women to do is take the DEI learnings and use your voice so the women of color in the room doesn't always have to. And again, I'll continue. Hold on. I got a point. But she then singled out a white person present in the panel discussion and said her voice on the basis of her race would be given more weight in the workplace. Imagine if all the white women out there, imagine going in there and trying to explain somebody else's experience to them. But in this case, it's totally fine because you can just go up to a white woman and tell them exactly what to do and exactly what to say, how they should use their voice, when they should use their voice, while you're also going to cut them down at the same time. At first I thought, this Target boycott I thought was actually pretty serious. They become the new Bud Light. They're targeting your children. Then you go behind the scenes, it's even worse. From what I'm getting out of this is she either resents or hates white women or doesn't respect them. It's one, this, that, or the other. I wouldn't give your money to Target anymore. But don't listen to me. Everyone making their own decisions. Nobody's got to listen to what I have to say. But I won't be shopping at Target anymore. I don't think they respect their customers. They obviously have a lot of racial biases. They only hire people of color, and they have opinions about how white women should, live their lives. Which, funnily enough, I'm sure the majority of their consumers are white women. That's a little odd, but, hey, they hate you. They hate you. It's plain and simple. And that's all I got. Leave a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you for listening this long, and I will catch you on the next one. Later.